On this episode of The Rural Golfer, Steve Elkington rolls into the blueberry capital of the South.
I call it the best kept secret in Georgia.
When you come to the South, man, you gotta have a porch, don't you?
Absolutely.
Alma, Georgia, where the people loved golf so much, they built their own course.
And it's something that you wouldn't imagine would have happened.
We meet some new characters.
Look, my belt line's
A little lower, a little lower.
You gonna come out and try to take money off all of us old guys, aren't you?
Oh man, that'd be a dream.
And get to know just how much golf means to this small town.
It gives the people of Alma somewhere to go that's a little bit nicer.
The Rural Golfer is headed your way.
It's one of the oldest games on Earth. Perhaps the only one you can play from cradle to grave. One solid connection with that elusive sweet spot and you're hooked for life. An addiction, or in some cases, an affliction. That never-ending quest for what we call the secret. Is there really a secret to this game? Well, Champions Tour professional Steve Elkington knows there is, and he and his crew are taking to the two-lane highways of rural America in search of the secret. They don't know where they'll find it, but they do know where to look. For them, the secret is in the dirt. Welcome to The Rural Golfer on RFD TV. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got the big show revving the riser on the map. Where we're going next, we just can't say. So grab your clubs, let's hit some balls. We're making friends and playing golf. The Rural Golfer's coming your way.
Famed poet Robert Frost once wrote about two roads diverging in a yellow wood, and a fella taking the one less traveled by. But there's a place in South Georgia where those roads just rolled on by, leaving the townspeople free to stay put.
When 95 was built and 75 was built, everybody bypassed these little towns. This is like going back to the 60s. Insurance is a lot less, taxes are less, the quality of living is very good here.
Alma, Georgia. Population 3,466. 5.8 square miles of dirt. Dirt the townspeople know well.
It's a farming community with industry spattered in here and growing. It's the blueberry capital of really the world. It's a third of all blueberries are grown here. It's the dirt. We grow cotton here, peanuts here. We used to grow tobacco. And these are the only blueberries in the early spring in the world.
Yes, the folks of Alma know how to carve a living out of the dirt, but they also know a thing or two about having fun with it. Unlikely, perhaps, but the community pulled together to carve out a golf course of their very own. And in the end, may prove to be the difference between surviving and thriving for this small, off-the-beaten-path town in an ever-changing world.
You would never think coming to a small town, people of the community had built it with their own tractors back in the early 90s. I mean, it's something that you wouldn't imagine would have happened.
Seeing it grow into what it is now, it was built, it was a nice golf course. Probably wasn't exactly as they wanted it.
I didn't really know how bad a shape it was. It looked okay. I didn't realize that the sprinklers needed fixing and the sand needed redoing. And once I got into it, I decided to make it the best golf course in the South.
To see something this big and to this scale survive and more or less thrive, it has been impressive. It gives the people of Alma somewhere to go that's a little bit nicer. When I was growing up, we went out of town if we wanted to go somewhere nice. Now we've got something like that here, and people come from out of town and come to us.
Alma, a small town doing big things. Just a spot on the map, so the only way to get there is by taking the road less traveled by.
Coming up on The Rural Golfer.
I don't think there's anything more appropriate than sitting on a porch in Georgia, having a nice tea after a game of golf, and staying in your lodge.
What could be better, right?
You've been having a fair bit of difficulty out of those traps there, Ted. Is that crushed granite you brought in for that, is it?
No, that's crushed angular sand, same as Augusta. There you go.
Beautiful sand to hit out of. It's a real tight sand. It's pretty easy to hit out of. You know, some
Well,
sand.
it's consistent now.
Yeah,
It wasn't
exactly.
before. There you go. There you go.
That's nice.
The charm of the Deep South is abundant at Blueberry Plantation Golf and Country Club in Alma, Georgia. And a large part of that came as a result of a Florida man and his search for a countryside retreat back in 2005.
What brought me to Alma was I was looking for a farm to buy. About 200 acres, a half a day drive from Jupiter, Florida. And I saw a golf course for sale, so I thought I'd look at it. And it knocked my socks off. I expected to see a piece of ground that went back and forth with a cow pasture, but this wound through the trees and it was 200 acres, so I bought it.
And then you said, I like this so much that I'm gonna move my company down here, and you employ people here.
That's correct, and Georgia's a very friendly state. And Alma sits in the middle of 156,000 people. So you have a great labor market here, 30-minute drive each direction.
Plenty of people to get
Plenty of people and
get the job done.
yeah.
He went back and told all his employees at his plant, I think this was like in maybe January, he may have bought it. Told all his employees, you got till May 1st to find Alma, Georgia on the map, because we're moving. And testament to him, probably 95% of his employees came up here with him, uprooted their lives and came up here with him.
He will help you in any way he can. He's one of the most generous people for where he's came from and what he has and everything else you would, he's one of the most generous people you'll ever meet.
It's been a blessing for Ted to have the course. There's no way anyone else could have done what he's done with it. Whatever they need to improve it, he's done it. And one thing about Ted, he surrounds himself with people that know how to do what he asks of them, man. It's a fine golf course now. It's a fine golf course.
Tell you what, Ted, the greens are perfect.
Yes.
Ted's philanthropic efforts in his adopted hometown of Alma include giving the local golf team free access to the range and course. He is a true ambassador for the game, but his goal for this hidden gem is simple.
I want a little mini Augusta here.
The signature of your course is small greens, and when the pros come here, the course never gets eaten up
Never eaten up.
because it's small greens, undulation,
The big hitters have no
advantage.
A lot of people ask me, why is Blueberry Plantation so hard? I don't know. It's just a hard golf course. It's nothing tricky. All the trouble's in front of you. You have to be a good ball striker and have a great short game to be able to play around this course.
There's a few holes that they look easy, and they are easy, but at the same time they can jump up, and you make a mental mistake, you make a double.
You built a lodge here, like I stayed there last night. It's like Pinehurst down here. If people come down here and they were lucky enough to fly in, you have an airport right there. And you told me that you pick me up in the golf cart and take you right to the first tee.
Absolutely. If you stay at the inn, you play for nothing except cart fees.
A consummate salesman, Ted crafted Blueberry Plantation after Augusta National, all the way down to the 800 tons of angular sand in the bunkers. But it's the charm of the people and Alma's quaint nature that really make this place feel like home.
It takes a little bit, and it goes a long way in these little towns. So why not help the people that are already there and let them expand? And that's what we're trying to do.
Coming up on The Rural Golfer.
If you got some competitiveness and don't like to lose, golf will hook you in the first few swings because you can't hit it, and it's just sitting there.
Par 4, small green.
You could probably drop the small greens. I think I've got that. You've told me that. I mean, every hole's a small green, isn't it?
Some are smaller. This is really small.
Okay, this is a really small one.
I didn't see it. Good?
Yeah, good. Boy, you weren't kidding when you're talking about small green. How am I going to hit that? Mate, that's the smallest green I've ever seen. I got to come in super high.
Super high and just right. There you go. There you go.
I'm pretty happy with that shot.
That was
Ted,
a good
mate,
shot.
these greens are tiny. I think I should come here for a week and work on my wedge game.
Attaboy, attaboy.
Where's that been on the tour?
When I played my best, I played a little fade, but as I've gotten older, I've played more of a draw, just trying to get some extra power.
One of the more passionate characters we met in Alma also happens to hold the course record at Blueberry Plantation, and his plans now shift from lower scores to higher aspirations.
You've played a lot of golf in your life, and now you're my age. You're a little older than me already, aren't you? 53.
Yeah, I'm 53.
And you grew up in Georgia your whole life.
Yeah, started playing golf when I was 2 years old. My dad was into golf. He was a club professional in South Carolina and moved to a little town called Sylvania, Georgia. He would just take me out to the golf course with him, and I think it was to get out of my mom's hair or something, you know. But I've loved it ever since.
You got that club face nice and stable up there. Looks good.
Thank you. And then in junior college, I played at Chattahoochee Valley Community College, and I shot 4 under my first tournament. And I won regionals, and then I lost nationals my first year in a playoff, and then won junior college nationals my second year.
But you have a lot of records, and you've done a lot of things. You have a course record here or something, 63?
63 or 64.
You gonna come out and try to take money off all of us old guys, aren't you?
Oh man, that'd be a dream. When I came along was back in the late 80s, early 90s, and there just wasn't very much money out there. I played what they call the Jordan Tour, which is the Hooters Tour now, and they had this new thing coming out called the Ben Hogan Tour, you know, wanting to start a second tour, and I talked to my backers down in Savannah, and it was $1,000 to try it. And so they said, yeah, let's give it a try, you know. So I went to the first stage was out in Dallas, Texas. And the first day I teed it up in the actual qualifying tournament, it was 8 degrees wind chill factor. And it's one of the best rounds I think I've ever played in competition, because I shot 76, which doesn't sound that great, but the way the wind blows out there. But yeah, it was, I ended up coming back to Florida and finished 13th out of 1,000 players. So it's a good accomplishment. And then I had some good tournaments on the Hogan Tour. I finished in the top 10 several times, and it was a lot of fun.
And you want to come back out on the Champions Tour?
Yeah, that's my aspirations. Getting in my car and traveling somewhere different each week. I mean, what could be greater? I feel like I can play with anybody at any given time. It's just a matter of getting back out and getting in shape and getting worked out again, loose. But you know, I'd love to play a few on that tour. Go out there with Steve, and that'd be really fun.
You like that feel?
I like that. I like these clubs.
They're nice clubs. You didn't think you were going to pick up a set of wrenches in my bag that weren't going to look good, did you? I'm old school, you know that.
Yep.
Coming up on The Rural Golfer, we meet Craig Too Tall Barnes.
Hey, you're not huge. I mean, my leg come. Look where my leg. Where's your belt line?
A little lower.
Little bit. Now, we're on the 10th tee here. What do you got here, par 4?
Par 4.
Watch this shot.
Okay.
I'm biting off some of that water, Ted. That's got to be good.
That's good. That's fine. It might hit the rough, but
really,
it's still all right.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You own the place. You know where I'm going. I've hit a pretty good drive here, Ted, and I've still got a little shot to a very small target over that with that pin tucked there. But I'm going to see what I can do with it.
It looked good. Carry. Okay.
All right. What's the par here?
Par 72. Course record, I think, is 64.
I could come here, and I don't know if I could break the record ever.
As I said before, there's some easy holes and there's some hard holes, and it's easy to make double bogey.
Greens look good, Ted.
Hit it.
Oh, mate.
That's better.
Okay. Alma. I'm in Alma. I never thought I'd say Alma.
Never thought you'd be in Alma either, right?
Didn't. Come on, Too Tall.
Craig Too Tall Barnes, a small man with a big swing. At only 5'4", he is still one of the best golfers around, in spite of his size.
Look at that.
That's why I have a flat swing.
You gotta have a flat swing.
Of course, Mom made my dad take me on Sunday afternoon with his friends, and he used to not let me play on the course. He wanted me to stay on the driving range and hit golf balls. Finally, one of their partners could not show up, so he let me play with them, and I beat every one of them.
You played mini tours, etc.?
That's correct. Someone suggested, said, why don't you go on tour? And one thing led to another. They got some people together for a little sponsorship, and so I tried it. And I wouldn't take anything in the world for it, but it didn't take me long to know I just wasn't my calling.
Too Tall left the tour, but not the game. Back in Georgia as a club professional, he found a new calling, inspiring the next generation.
It was at that point that I was starting to play a little bit of tournament golf, and so I'd, Mr. Craig, Mr. Craig, Mr. Craig, all the time. And I remember specifically one time he said, go make 50 putts in a row and don't come back in until you do. I think it took me 3 days on that putting green to make 50 putts in a row, and I was so excited. And I come in, I said, Mr. Craig, Mr. Craig. He said, what is it? I said, I made 50 putts in a row. He says, well, that's good, that's real good. You know, I was excited. He said, well, go make 50 more.
And that she did. For Ashley, golf became anything but a pastime.
Mom and Dad took me to a tournament when I was a kid. We were walking around, I watched about 3 holes. She said, what do you think? You know, she's wanting to see if she, wanted to put me in some golf tournaments. And I said, I'm ready to go home. I said, I'm not gonna go and watch. If I'm gonna go and play.
She was state champ, wasn't she?
3 years in a row.
State champ.
State champ for Class 2A, and went to Arkansas on full scholarship, and she was the real deal.
As she won the pride of her hometown, she was just hitting her stride. Next stop, the pros.
I played a few really small tournaments in Florida, qualified the first year, got conditional status, and Mr. Ted said, well, why don't you come be the professional at the course, and when you need to go play professional on the tour, you can. Help you out while you're out there and that type of thing.
Golf was the common thread throughout her life. A way to keep a young kid busy. It made the dream of higher education a reality, and now it appeared to be a real way to make a living.
Golf's always so important to me, so it was, things, God tended to put things in my life for me to play golf.
Coming up on The Rural Golfer, Too Tall helps Ashley realize her dream. And it doesn't take long to discover that a love of golf wasn't all they had in common.
All right, what do we got here?
Par 3. Another interesting thing about this hole is you're playing against the farm, which is right over here, which used to be House Cartwright's farm, who was Dan Blocker from Bonanza.
The Cartwrights, this is their land?
Yep.
You got to give me a little slack here. I'm Australian, and we didn't get the show Bonanza. Give me a little bit more history of that, please.
We had Boone as an actor in there, and Michael Landon. It was a fun Western.
Only in Alma. Oh, I couldn't make a hole-in-one, could I, Ted?
That could be good. Oh,
see
that's
that?
beautiful.
That was a good shot.
You must be a pro.
That was a good shot. That was a bonanza, the bonanza hole.
A bonanza hole.
That was a bonanza. I'm gonna see if I can get me another bird. Hey.
You're kidding me.
No, that's 2 in a row.
Man, you better save those for the tour.
Back in Alma, with her sights on the pros, Ashley enlisted the help of an old friend.
Kind of wanted me to help her with her game a little bit more, and so we did, and she asked me to caddy for her when she went on tour.
It's not the 8 to 5 job that people think it is, or the fun, let's go play on the weekend and come back home. And I realized he knew that more than anybody, and so we'd play and he'd caddy, and we just became best friends.
I got her to go out with me by letting her beat me in the club championship.
At the time, I didn't realize he liked me. I beat him at the club championship the first time I beat him, and I was really excited. But I was afraid he'd be mad at me at the same time.
She was bragging about it. I said, the only reason I done that is so you'd go out with me. And to this day, she still don't believe it, but I'm sticking to it.
He began having feelings for me, and one day he says, "Can I kiss you?" And something in me just was yelling, "Yes, yes, yes." And from that moment on, I knew.
I found my soulmate, my best friend.
Hi, Craig.
Take the Ashley.
Take the Ashley.
To be my wedded wife.
To be my wedded wife.
It was a dream wedding. It really was.
You may kiss your man.
A dream come true for both. Although the prospect of a career on tour may now be a thing of the past for Ashley, her dedication and love for the game helped pave the way to her future.
And that's one reason I play golf, is so I could be with him. I grew up and I knew him, and we could fall in love the way we did. I thought maybe it was to play professional, but now I'm beginning to think it was to be happy.
Ted, I want to thank you, and I can't think of anything more appropriate than sitting on a porch in Georgia having an iced tea. We've had a game of golf on your course, and I've enjoyed meeting you and being in your lodge.
Well, please come back, and next time we'll go fishing after golf.
You got it. There is one thing that I got to do before I leave, though.
Hey, welcome to Papa T's. I'm Papa. Can I help you?
Yes, sir, you can. I would like some fried gizzards. I would like some fried chicken. I would like some fried livers. And for my sides, I want some, you have okra?
We got okra.
Squash?
Squash.
Hush puppies?
Hush puppies.
Don't forget the hush puppies.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir, that's it.
All right. Have it for you in just a moment.
Thank you, sir.
On the next episode of The Rural Golfer.
This is one of the greatest turf experimental places there is in the whole United States, for sure.
Steve Elkington heads to Farm Links in Sylacauga, Alabama.
The golf course, Farm Links, is truly the world's first research and demonstration golf course.
To learn their secret formula in the dirt.
Oh, I aced it right on camera right here. I may have a gimme up here, you never know.